Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Rodney Smith. You might know me from my YouTube channel, Watch It Played. And if not, then hi, I'm Rodney Smith, and I have a YouTube channel called Watch It Played. And this is my third time doing a panel here at Canada Plays, and I think they chose kind of a fun topic for me here, one that I think is probably near and dear to some of your hearts, or maybe dreaded by some of you. I'm going to be talking about demoing games, and specifically from the retailer perspective, but it also applies, I think, when you're at a convention and you're a publisher demoing games, or just in our personal lives. Like the tools kind of work both ways. Like even if you're just trying to expand gaming to your friends and family, whether they want to or not. I'm just going to toss these cue cards on the floor as I go here because I just don't have enough hands. Okay, so don't worry, it'll be fine. To get things started, and just to maybe give me a sense of the room here, could I get a raise of hands if you regularly run demos in your retail shop? And just keep them up in the air if you don't mind. I just want to sort of see. Okay, great. And then keep them up if you find that they regularly turn into sales afterwards. I don't think I saw any hands come down. That's very encouraging. That's good. That suggests to me that this is probably a valuable topic then. It's successful, and that's good. It's the only presentation I have, so I'm glad that we're going to be talking about this, and it sounds like it might be something that'll be interesting. Now, I wanted, before we get into some of the challenges maybe that demos create, I just wanted to talk about, like, why do we do it in the first place? Now, I do have a few ideas myself. They're hidden for now. I thought I would just open it up. I want to just, I don't know that we need mics necessarily, but if you put your hand up, I just love people to say, why is it that you run demos in your stores? What is it you're looking for? I got a hand right here. Thank you.
Get people excited about a new game.
Get people excited about a new game. That makes sense. Right there.
Seem less abstract.
Help make it seem less abstract. So they get the demo and then they sort of see what the game is rather than just being a box and a cover. And
It even works to somebody who's not a gamer. They have no concept of what you're talking about.
I gotcha. Yes. So they get the demo, then they can really see it in action. That makes sense.
It's like a Costco giving out a sample.
Yeah, it's a little sample. Give a small taste. That's good. Maybe they come back for more right here in the front.
When they have it in their hands, they can hold it. It's so much more real to them.
Yes.
They're more open to the explanation of it.
That's interesting. I think it kind of ties to what you were saying too, right? It becomes less abstract. It becomes this thing. It's a physical thing. Right there in the burgundy sweater.
Them talking.
To get them talking. Can you expand on that?
So the more that they share with us, the more information we have.
Oh.
And into what the type game they want.
Right.
So like, try this. Well, I don't really, this is really my thing.
That gives you an open door to ask, well, what is your thing? Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Anything else?
There's another one.
Touching it makes them feel like it's theirs.
It gives them a sense of like, oh, this is maybe my box. Maybe I want to take this home with me. I don't necessarily want to give it back. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Hey, I got one there.
Yeah, like it's just a positive experience. So it's like if you sit down in the cafe and actually do a game, it's like, oh, I don't know how to play. I don't know these things. There's a lot of negative connotations. And as soon as there's some like, it's like, oh, I can see some quickly.
Right.
And I'm laughing with them. It creates a positive experience with the game on.
Yes.
So it's that positive experience with the game. So they want to play it next time on their own.
Gotcha. So if you've given them a positive experience of the game, then they want to have that. That means they know they can have it again, basically, either on their own or with other friends and things. Yeah. Well, I had a couple of things here myself. Let's see if I hit on any of the stuff that was already mentioned. Those are great. So I just said, it attracts customers. It gets people into the store who might not otherwise come in if they know there's an event going on. This, I think, was sort of what you were talking about there was maybe mentioned. It's that personal connection. When you have a demo, you're sitting potentially with the people, you're playing the game with them. And even if the game itself is maybe not necessarily a good fit for them, if they're having a good interaction with you, they're going to remember that too. And then maybe want to come back to the store, whether the game worked for them or not. I thought this is also something, it provides a unique service. An online retailer can't necessarily provide an in-person demo, right? So it also distinguishes you as a store, which I think is pretty important. Maybe reduces customer disappointment. They get a chance to demo the game, they can decide this is not for me. And rather than have bought it and take it home and kind of associate a negative purchase with your store, they know they want to play this game. They are excited about the experience they had and they can repeat it again. And of course, I just thought, not to be reductive, but maybe make a sale too, right? Like, that's not so bad. Maybe a demo leads to a sale. Okay, so we have some good ideas, good reasons, I think, for doing it. I thought it was kind of fun that Canada Plays proposed that I do this because of what I do for a living. I started the channel Watch It Played in 2011. I know that says 2012, but you wouldn't want to see what it looked like in 2011. But and I'm still doing it today. This is not in memoriam, by the way. I'm still here. Okay, I'm still doing this. I just didn't update the picture. And so, does anyone know kind of what the main focus on Watch It Played, what videos I tend to make? Anyone know? Got a hand here?
Any complexity or anything you think will be cool, you'll show people out.
Yeah, tutorial videos. It's like how to plays and teaching videos. That tends to be what I focus on. And I think there are some connections between doing a tutorial video and doing a demo. A tutorial is a kind of demo. Now, there are some, I think, pretty key differences between a tutorial video and what you're doing running a demo. And I don't just mean my East Coast Canadian accent, which my American viewers do like to comment on, I suppose, would be my polite sort of passive-aggressive East Coast way of saying it. When I say cards, they love to point out, they think I'm saying like cards. Does it sound like I'm saying that when I say card? Please, Canadians here, cards. Cards? Cards? Sounds perfect. I heard perfect. Thank you. I don't hear that enough. Thank you. That feeds my soul. Like, what's he saying cards for? You know what? Last year I did a tutorial video for Lord of the Rings: Fate of the Fellowship. Does anyone know that game or aware of that one? Yeah, I love that game. In the tutorial video, I said Sauron instead of Sauron. Oh, toast. Yes, 100%. So many people were so keen to tell me how wrong that was. And I can't blame the Maritimes for that one. That was just me goofing up. But anyway, I'm off track a little bit here. Let me get back on track. I wanted to discuss the challenges related to in-person demos, just to give fodder for discussion about solving them. So thank you all for jumping in with some of the topics already. We'll keep doing this. So with a tutorial video, I'm working from a fully written script. Every word I've written out, rewritten, and planned. So it's a very specific presentation. But I do not think that's the right approach for a demo. And I doubt if you have a story, you're doing it that way. Because when someone tunes in for a tutorial video, of course, they're expecting to sit down and be sort of locked in for a while to learn the game. But I think when people sit down for a demo, they're expecting to play. They're expecting to engage with the game in some particular way. So a demo is, I don't think a demo's goal is rules accuracy. Here, we'll go back one. I would say it's more to give a great first experience. Would you agree? Like as retailers, that's what you're looking to do, give a good, it's not so much, hey, I need this person to walk away and be word perfect on the rules. I want them to have been excited about the game that they're going to play. One thing I wrote down here is I said, an imperfect teach that creates engagement will generate more interest and sell more games than a flawless but drawn out explanation. Does that make sense? Yeah. Whereas I like to be more in the flawless, drawn out explanation area. But again, it's a different format. It's a different format and there's a different expectation, right? But the thing is, when you do a demo, you do need to teach something, right? They need to have some kind of confidence about what it is they're going to be doing in the demo. So I'd like to open up a little bit of a discussion here on things that any of you have found helpful when you yourself are preparing to run a demo. And again, I have a few things that I came up with that I think might be helpful, but I'm curious, when you're preparing for a demo, what are you doing to prepare for it? All right, I see a hand there, a colorful shirt in the back. Watching. I like you. Sucking up early. This is good. No, that's what's yours? You try with your employees first. Oh, that's good. Yes, because they get to learn it too, and you also get to see how it goes over. Because if they're having trouble or asking questions, you're going to then be able to zero in. Oh, that's great. That's a really good one. I hadn't thought of that. Hand there.
I try to have 5 sentences at the top. What is the game about? How do I win? What do I do? Like one sentence, how do I start it first?
Right.
And then just like get them handling things right away.
That's awesome.
Those 5 things.
Did everyone hear that? Okay. That's great. I think that's like you're getting them up and running really fast. Yeah. They're really good? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be relying on you throughout this presentation. Oh, excellent. Ringing endorsement. That's awesome. David?
I like to make sure I know the game well enough that I can teach it right off the top of my head. So, if they have questions, I'm not checking a rule book. I can just be like, oh yeah, I do that.
Can I ask you, how do you prepare yourself? Like, how do you? Yeah. So you read the rules, you do sort of repetitive play for yourself, and then you can go into it and feel confident teaching it, right? Any other? Yeah, right here.
I think for me, like I have to play it, not
Yes,
to know the rules, but play it enough.
get a feel for it.
Yeah, and then I ask the person questions about what is the good from, and I focus on this is how this game is gonna get to that. And I will say, you know what, I actually don't remember about this rule, or I have a personal rule that I change for my kids
Yes.
to go and read it. But I try to focus more on what is it that they are looking for, what they want to hear, and then I give it to them through that demo.
Okay, through the lens of what they're looking for, right? Well, here I had a couple of thoughts that might be helpful. We'll see. Rodney tips. Look for. I think looking for an included overview, usually on the back of the rulebook, can be really helpful because maybe you've read the rules, you've learned them, but maybe it's been a couple of days now. You're running the demo. I find it really helpful just to have that in front of me, so it gives me a little bit of a guide. If I do have to get in the weeds a little bit about teaching, I can just follow that overview. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Board Game Geek has a lot of over.
Oh, don't steal my next one. Come on. I liked it when you said you like to watch it play. Now you're taking my thunder. No, that's a great tip. This is one I would recommend. Is everyone here familiar with Board Game Geek or heard of? Yes. So every game in existence has a page on there. And on every page, there's a files section. If you go inside of the files section, there are oftentimes user-generated player aids. People have played the game a whole bunch and just feel like maybe the game is lacking a little bit of like supplementary information that would help. Sometimes there's full teaching guides. And by full, I mean like nice, succinct, shorter kind of presentations of the game. So that's a great place to go looking. And actually, I'll talk about the benefits of Board Game Geek again a little bit later in another experience I had recently. And yes, a tutorial video can be helpful. Not a shameless plug. This is somebody else's here. But just finding somebody who has done a tutorial video already, maybe a style that you like, it'll give you a sense of how to approach and present it. Because oftentimes a video format is going to be different than how the rulebook lays it out. Sometimes rulebooks are laid out more to be a reference. Sometimes they're missing some of the information, and some of the videos can help fill in some of those gaps. So those are just a couple of little tips there. Let's look at another challenge you might face when doing a demo. Now, with a tutorial video, you can see people can pause. They can just take a little break. Oftentimes when they pause, I'm looking ridiculous. That does happen occasionally. I don't know if this is a pro or a con, honestly. It's just something that happens. But people can pause too when you're giving a demo. And they pause by grabbing their phone, by having their attention drift, and just sort of leaving, sort of the game. That can be a bit of a distraction, both for them. Obviously, they may be missing some information, but the people around them as well. So the last topic was kind of how do we prepare for a demo, but then how do we get people engaged in the demo that we're giving them? I think that's another element to this. So I just wanted to see, again, I'm going to open up the floor first, and then I'll share some of the things I have. Do you have any tips or tricks here? How is it that you keep people engaged? I think you already kind of tapped on it a little bit there by saying, like, you have a couple of sentences you're going to give them right up front, and then hopefully get them into the game quite quickly, right? Giving them a first action they can perform. Does anyone else have any tips about, like, when you have to do that little bit of a rules teach at the first, how do you keep people engaged? Yeah, Jim.
Eye contact.
Eye contact.
I'm teaching somebody and I see someone like maybe drifting. I'll try to look at them so they look back because they'll notice it.
Yes.
That helps keep them engaged. I think, talking out in a monotone is pretty big. Getting them to touch pieces to move them as I instruct so they're involved while doing it.
Right.
Those are all.
Yeah, getting them involved during the teach in some way. Yeah. Anyone else have any ways you found effective for keeping people kind of engaged during your teach part? Yeah, right there. Oh, that's interesting. So kind of prompted. Yeah, it gets, if someone's sort of drifting a little bit, it's like, kind of snap them back into the game a little bit. And it gives them something to think about personally, right? Yeah, that's a good one. I had a couple things here. I think they've sort of been said here. The eye contact, I said, like, learn and use names. I find this so helpful when I'm giving a demo. If I just say the person's name, it automatically kind of shoots them back into attention, But also, when I'm giving examples, yes, I could use the pieces that are in front of me. And sometimes that is more convenient, but if I can use the pieces in front of somebody else, if I can come over and kind of because that's their pieces, that's their color they chose, they feel a little invested, they're seeing things moving around, right? And I find that really helps keep people engaged when you have to do some of maybe the more monotonous parts of teaching the rules of the game. I like assigning tasks and responsibilities. So if somebody's there at the table and they're near the coins, I'm like, you're in charge of the coins, and then they feel like they've got something that they're sort of in charge of, and they're not even sure how they work yet, but they just know I'm in charge of this. Or maybe it's just, hey, can you shuffle the decks for me? Or can you organize those pieces over there? I think those sort of things can kind of help during the teach if you just give a few little tasks and responsibilities along the way. I think having a clear start and end point to a demo can also be pretty useful, because if you don't have that, sometimes a demo can start to drift. I think this actually leads a bit into the next, it does lead into the next topic, which is setting expectations. I think this can be really powerful as a tool when you're giving a demo, because if a player doesn't really understand what the demo is going to be or what the expectations are, I think it can cause a kind of restlessness. Like, how long is this going to be? What am I committing to exactly here? So with a tutorial video, again, if someone's watching and it's just kind of not for them, they can always just opt out. They can just go watch something else. They can go watch a tragically hip video or whatever, right? But I think it's a little different in a demo, because there's a social pressure there. Once you're sat down at the table with people, to get up and leave, am I being rude? Am I stuck here? How long is this going to be for? So, you can end up in situations like these people where they're just kind of bored and they don't know what's going on. So when you're at a demo table, like I said, there's different kinds of social pressures, and it can lead to, I've been at some situations where I'm giving a demo and it's clear someone came, they're very excited about the game, and they brought a friend who was maybe a little less excited about the game, and they're sort of not really contributing to the fun of the table. Now, if I'm doing a video and you're being a nuisance, I have no idea. It's fine. But at a demo table, especially if you're running, it can be a distraction, right? So how do we deal with some of that? Well, let's find out. If I can get this to the next card. Here, I'll start this one. I'll just rhyme off a few things. I think when you're inviting people to a demo, it's good to define, I don't know if define the audience is the best way I could have put this, but letting them know up front, hey, this is a family game, or this is a party game, or this is going to be a fantasy game, or it's going to be a sci-fi game. It allows people to know, oh, is this for me or not? Like, is this my interest or not? I think, again, this is in the spirit of wanting people to opt out, meaning it's probably better, you can tell me if you agree, that someone not have a demo if it's not going to be suited to them, than to get into a demo and then realize, oh, this is not suited for me, and then sort of feel, again, the social pressure of being stuck there. Don't undersell the complexity. I've certainly seen this happen. It's been done to me, where it's, oh, it's a simple game. It's going to be really easy to teach. Come on, jump into this demo. And, about, I don't know, an hour and a half later, we're still into the rules, right? Like, I can understand the desire to want to get as many people into the demo as possible, but it really stinks to be there and feeling like this game is beyond my interest and even my capacity maybe as a gamer at this point. And so telling people, yeah, this is going to be a half an hour teach, or this is going to be a very complex game or a simple game, I think is a good way of helping people opt out. Giving people a way to bow out. The other thing you can do is maybe after a couple of rounds, you say, hey, does everyone take the temperature of the room? Does everyone feel like they understand how the game works? Do you want to move on from here? And then people can let you know if they want to keep playing or not. Or alternatively, you can kind of set limits and up front say, we're going to do 2 rounds. And then you can check and see. But people know, oh, I'm only committing to 2 rounds. I can handle that, Oh, let's jumping on to the next topic. So before we do that, anyone have any thoughts on that, setting expectations? How do you do that in your stores? Do you try to do that, set expectations so people kind of know what they're committing to? Yeah.
I have a bit I do for complex games.
You have a bit? Okay.
Of course I have a bit. Look what I'm
Good.
where I tell everybody that I'm going to start talking about rules and they're going to zone out, and that's normal. And it's like, I just say, you're not going to remember all of this. That's fine. Nobody at the table will remember everything I say. But if I don't do this part, we can't do the next part. So it's like a performance art.
Yes.
This, and you pretend you.
Yes. I love this.
People are really comfortable then to ask questions later.
Yeah, that's great. That is really, because that's the thing about this hobby. There's a studying exam you have to do before you get to have the fun, right? You got to read the textbook, or you got to have someone teach you the textbook. That's really the only way. So just being really honest about it and going, I know you're not going to listen to every word I say. It's okay. I'll answer the questions later, but I got to get through this so we can get to the fun part. I think that's great. Really good. Yeah.
I like to ask what games they played before.
Ask what games they played before. Okay.
Before is like to sort of gauge the water on like how experienced are they? How heavy the game's been before? What kind of rule sets that they've been exposed to before? So they know how easy it's going to be to teach them or not easy. So that'll sort of like dictate how I'm going to like lead into.
Right.
And so like as you said, setting expectations for like what are you expecting?
That reminds me of an experience I just had before I came into this room. So one of the things that Canada Plays asked me to do was to run a game, play a game with Thomas, the CEO of Asmodee. And I had not met him before, and I wasn't sure if, is he the CEO of Asmodee because he's a big-time gamer, or is he the CEO of Asmodee because he's a big-time business guy? And the two could both be true, but I wasn't sure. Am I going to be sitting down with someone playing a TCG with all kinds of iconography and having to sort of start at ground zero? Well, it turns out this guy's a serious gamer. He really gave me a run for my money. And that did help me know how to sort of engage in the experience, because you don't want to be talking over someone's head. You don't want to be talking under either. You want to kind of meet people where they're at. So finding that in advance with a couple of smart questions, I think can help that way. Yeah. Any other thoughts about that? Okay. All right. So let's get to the next slide here. I want to talk about choosing the right demo for the right situation. I have to imagine sometimes, especially in retail, some games are getting some buzz, or maybe you just got a demo kit. And so you're feeling some pressure to feature a particular game. But, sometimes a particular game isn't the right game for the situation. And of course, the reason why I actually chose this picture, sure, there's a bunch of games. I just wanted to show you my kids. This is a while ago. Luke just graduated from engineering. So this is a little bit of a time capsule moment here. Anyway, love those guys. All right. Each year, Canada Plays has me run demos, usually two or three demo games. And we'll usually discuss in advance what those games are going to be. And sometimes the games we talk about would be fun to do, but they're not necessarily the best fit. Like this year, I'll give you an example. I love Arkham Horror, the card game. Anyone else like Arkham Horror, the card game? Am I alone? I see some nods. That's nice. So I like this game a lot, but it is quite involved, as you can maybe tell. And so in the particular time frame I had, the setup, the teardown, how many people can I get at the table? How quickly can I teach it, etc. Now I think this is a game that can be demoed in this situation, but for the time frame I had, it wasn't necessarily a good pick. So I think it's important to kind of know what can you fit into the situation that you're going to be giving the demo in. Actually, I have a game I'm demoing tomorrow. Has anyone heard of this? A Duel for Cardia? It's this game. So this is one of the ones I'm doing a demo for, and yeah, his hands up. Has anyone played this one? Or I see a hand. Yeah, I think not a lot of hands though, which is kind of nice for me because it's one of the reasons why I picked it. Is I kind of hoped it would be kind of a little bit unique, a little bit new. Did I just lose everything? No, I'm going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Oh yeah, no, here we go. So it's going great. I want to tell you some of the pros to this particular game and why I chose it. First of all, again, it's relatively new, so I figured curiosity would be somewhat high. It wouldn't be a game a lot of people have already played. By appearance, you saw the box when I held it up there, right? That doesn't look super intimidating, does it? Like you see the size box, you go, oh, okay, pretty approachable, right? So new, appears approachable in terms of complexity because it doesn't look like some overwhelming thing. It also, I'm doubling down here, appears approachable in terms of commitment. You're like, well, this is probably not a 7-hour game. This is going to be a quick something that can be played, right? It actually is approachable because this is the other thing. Some things can appear approachable and be completely unapproachable, or they can have a higher barrier to entry than you might imagine, right? So I know with this game, it is approachable. I know I can teach it relatively quickly, and it will be accessible for a lot of people. I also didn't know a ton about the game beforehand. When I was considering this, it's one of the games that they were thinking about. So I looked up reviews and I saw a lot of positive reviews for it. So that gave me a bit of confidence that you never know when people come into a demo, are they going to enjoy it? This gave me a sense, okay, this is probably going to be a better pick because the likelihood of it having success was probably there. I also liked it came with player aids. So I knew in the box I was going to be able to take out the cards, put them in front of people, and then they would have those in front of them to help them follow along as I was teaching, but also after I'm done teaching, if they have questions, hopefully this will help them. There were a couple of cons. I did come up with a couple of cons for this one. Table presence. Last year I did Fate of the Fellowship, and that has big table presence, big dice tower, big board, lots of models and everything, right? So when someone sees that, they're like, for some people, that's like, I want to play that. That looks exciting. This game does not really have that. It's a few cards on the table. So it is missing the table presence part of it. And a limited player count. It's a 2-player game. Now, here's where BGG helped me out, because I went to the BGG page, I went into the file section, and it turns out the publisher has released, after the game came out, here's how you play with 4 people. And I realized because of the table space and presence and the ease of teaching, I can probably have one copy here, 4 people, one copy there, 4 people. I can get 8 people playing this game. And so it just felt like it hit all the right buttons. So again, I'm belaboring this point, like when you're demoing games, these are all the things that I think as factors, you're trying to think, how is this going to work with my particular audience, the people who are going to come into my store? Is it going to fit the opportunity I'm giving them? So anyone have any, I guess you wouldn't have a lot of thoughts on that because that's Duel for Cardia. So unless you played it, but those are the reasons why I picked that particular one. I'm hoping you'll see me tomorrow demoing. So, if you see me and we lock eyes, you can just go, is it going good? Going good? I'll let you know. All right. So let's talk about this next one, which I am kind of curious to hear what you think about this. So I chose this picture because you can see all these people are having fun. They're playing a game. Everyone's really excited in it here. This is hopefully a demo that's gone really, really well. And I figure, and this might not be true, but I figure you want to be that guy. The guy who's sort of like, okay, everyone's got it. They're all having a great time. I can just kind of fade into the background now, like I don't have to manage this group anymore. And obviously some games you're going to need to stick around and be there and help with questions or whatever. But in an ideal situation, I would think you've got a store, maybe you're running, you have other obligations. It's nice when the table can kind of run itself. So I'll just get over here. Oh, we'll go back to that one in a second. That's coming. But what do you find? What's your experience? Are you able to walk away? Do you choose to get demos that you can walk away from? Or do you find you sort of have to stay there and manage most of the time? What are people's experience there? Oh, I heard some walkaways. What was that? Yeah, walk away?
100% I walk away. I get to go on and say, got it? All right, yeah.
Yeah, and does that work, generally speaking? Do you find it's better? Like, I sometimes wonder, someone's given me a demo, and I appreciate they've helped. Sometimes I kind of want them to leave. Like, I don't need someone hovering over me. It's like, hey, we've got this. It can be a little bit much, or maybe sometimes in a retail space, too, maybe it feels a little bit like pressure or something, like maybe you have a bit of an agenda or something, Yeah, so do you find sometimes you have to stay there, though, and play the whole time? Or, no, I'm seeing lots of no's. Okay, I think that's probably a good thing. Sometimes you want to be in the demo yourself. Like tomorrow, if I can be at the table, I'll try to be at the table and play if there's an open space because it's fun for them and hopefully fun for me. But you know what isn't fun? Being utterly destroyed during a demo by the person who's running the demo. I've found that almost never works. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule. There are some people who really enjoy, a good challenge. But I think there's a lot of people who have a hard time feeling like it's a good challenge when they're beat by the person who's demoing them because they just kind of come in feeling, well, you already know the game. You've already played it well. I do think in a demo, it's probably advisable to pull your punches a little bit. You don't have to bring the full game night cutthroat energy necessarily. Do you guys agree? Like when you play, I'm seeing nodding heads, right? Who are the cutthroats here? There's got to be some. They're all trying to beat their customers. Oh, I see a hand at the back. There we go.
Me personally, but we used to have a rep who would annihilate people at Happy Salmon and then run around the room screaming.
Maybe in Happy Salmon, I can almost give it a pass. Yeah. Okay, so I think we generally agree. You don't want to completely, destroy the people you're demoing to. So before we open this up for even broader conversation, I did prepare 10 quick little tips that I thought of. I would just run through, kind of blitz through quickly. How are we doing for time? Are we doing all right? I think we're doing all right. So one of the things I just thought is, I think it's a good idea to craft a 10-minute experience. I don't mean the whole demo has to be 10 minutes, but just think a lot about the first 10 minutes, or as you were saying, the first 5 lines. Like, what is that going to look like? And sometimes focusing on the core loop can be helpful. By that, I just mean what's a round of the game, or what's a turn look like, or maybe it's just simply helping them understand, hey, what you're doing is you're collecting resources, you're going to spend those resources, and then that's going to get you points. Like a simple kind of core loop for them to understand the flow of the game. And I think training a tight, repeatable, quick teach. You were talking about you play it with your staff, right? And then you kind of figure out what worked or didn't work with them. But everyone has a different teaching style, I find. So, you could teach your staff and the 3 of them could all learn it and then go off and teach it themselves in a completely different way that isn't necessarily as efficient as it could be. So I don't think it hurts to actually try to coach your staff to here's the teach that I want you to give, because it's consistently, hopefully going to give a better experience. The next one here, avoiding choice overload. I suppose this is going to be different. Some of you might have games cafes where people come in and they kind of expect they can get demos of all kinds of games that are in there. But I imagine in a retail store, it might be advantageous to just have a solid teach in a few different categories so that if somebody comes in and they want a demo for a game, and you're like, well, we're not prepared to demo that, but that's a party game. Maybe you'd like this one, and you can sort of take them to something that's kind of related to the thing. Or, of course, if a staff member has a favorite, that maybe makes them the guru of being able to do that. Train staff as facilitators, not rule books. This just kind of goes back to that very early point about like the perfect teach is not the most important thing. Focus on the experience over perfection. If there's a quick way to get things set up, how it's organized in the box, or if you have to reset quickly for another demo, I think that can be really helpful. And also introducing rules as necessary. I love teaching Flip 7. I did a tutorial video for Flip 7. You'd be surprised. It's no. Opposite. It's like 12 minutes long because there are all kinds of funny little card interaction rules that most people don't know about, but they do eventually come up in your play. And so with my tutorial videos, I try to be very comprehensive. So I covered all that stuff. But when I'm teaching the game, I just teach as we go, right? I just start dealing cards and I just start talking, and then those things can come out when they come out. So I have experienced it where I'm in a demo and I already know the game, let's just say well enough that I feel like I could teach it. And I'm watching the person tell me everything about the card. They're telling me, hey, here's where the illustrator's name is located on the card. And and I'm like, yes, that's great. But I'm really kind of itching to get into it. Is there a way we can start playing and you can teach it as we're going? And so, yeah, introducing rules is necessary, and learning how to do that, I think, can be quite helpful in keeping things moving along. Create momentum. This is kind of a hard one for me to figure out how to put into simple words, but I was recently I went to a retail shop to do the Gundam TCG. You guys familiar with that? I fell down a rabbit hole of Gundam. And I just watched so much. It's crazy. But I was interested in the game, and I have not been to a retail shop in a long while to go to one of the demo events. So I have to admit, I was a little nervous. Like I legitimately was like, I don't know if I want to go to this. What if I'm the only person there who wants to play? But there's only 3 of us. Am I going to fit in? I'm very new to this Gundam anime stuff, and I just felt kind of awkward. And when I got to the store, I didn't go up and say, hey, where's the thing happening? Because I wasn't sure if I was ready to commit. I just kind of like window shopped and looked at things and pretended like I was, do you have any people in your stores? You get the sense they're kind of like, really, where they're kind of interested, but they're not sure if they're interested yet. And they're kind of hoping someone else is going to make the move. And anyway, my point is, eventually it did sort of start, and I saw a whole bunch of people go, yeah, we're all participating. I went, oh, okay, there's a thing happening here. This looks like a group I can blend into. Okay, I'm going to commit. So I think getting the first player is sometimes the hardest to get, but starting on time, promoting it well, and giving people information before they get there about what's going to happen. And I think if I'd walked into the store and felt a little more confident about where do I go? Is it in a particular room? Is there a sign or something that points me in the right direction? I would have felt a little more comfortable out of the gate, whereas I kind of had to figure it out for myself as I went. Prepare your demo copies for use. I think it's nice to have everything pre-punched. Do you guys all pre-punch your games before demo night, or do you just sort of go, hey, let's get started and everyone's punching? What's the deal there? Does everyone? You're punching games on the game. Right, so there's games. Yeah, there's some games here that maybe should have been pre-punched, right? Is that what we're saying? Yeah. Sometimes that's fun, but ultimately a lot of people, again, they're there to play the game and have the experience, right? They can have the punching out part when they buy the game themselves, right? So yeah, I think that's good. And if you can pre-organize them, get them into baggies and things that are well labeled, it's going to help for the cleanup afterwards. That's also going to help for the setup. So probably obvious things that you guys are already doing. I was saying, so lowering the social barrier kind of ties to that experience I had when I went to the other store. So if I came in, there's some welcoming signs and clear signs about this way for the demos. Again, if someone was kind of in the store, kind of keeping an eye on what's that weirdo? He keeps picking up books and he's looking at them upside down. Clearly, he's looking for something else. What's this guy? He needs some help. If someone had come over to me and talked to me, I probably would have felt a little comfortable opening up. Be like, is there a thing happening tonight? Like, I don't see where it is. So I think having, some staff who are paying attention to maybe those people who are on the, or maybe looking for some help but aren't asking for it can be useful. And I put letting people join late. I don't know how effective this is exactly, but again, for people who are kind of not sure if they want to commit, but they're kind of waiting to see what happens, if it is possible, maybe you're taking up a seat and you can hop up and let them jump in, or you can kind of coach them into the game. That can be useful. Do you have much of that happen when you're running demos and people show up late and they want to jump into a game? What do you do? Panic. Yeah, kind of. You can throw things off, can't it? Like, do you restart a teach over again? Have you found any? Yeah, you just kind of have to roll with it, right? Yeah. Create an easy path to purchase. I've noticed this sometimes. So obviously, if you're getting a demo and you can have a nice little stack of the games right there, that can be very handy. But if that's not possible, then just having a sign at the table that says, "Hey, we have copies over at the checkout" or something. And of course, staff can just casually say after a demo, "Well, if you enjoyed this, we have it here. You can buy it." But I have sometimes I finished the demo and I'm looking around like, I think I'd like to purchase this game, and I'm hunting for it and it's somewhere on a shelf. I think if you're running a demo night, of course, it makes sense to have it out. And I'm sure all of you do that. But I have certainly seen the opposite. This one, again, I can't speak to this one at all. This is definitely out of my depths, but I'm sure it's something that you have to deal with, which is, okay, we want to have demo space, but we also have to have retail shelf space. And the competition that happens between those two things. I was talking to a retailer the other day who was saying this exact problem they have. Space is limited. We want to give demos. We want to have that community connection, but we also need to sell product, and that takes up space too. So, I would imagine using a smaller footprint games for everyday demos. And then, of course, when you're having a big night, maybe you have to get out more tables and that. Is this a common problem for retailers, this space issue, and maybe having success and you have more people coming in than can actually fit in your space? I've seen some nodding. So what do you do? Yeah, I see the, I suppose you have to turn people away. Scheduling. Do you run more sessions then if you get?
Some days are busier or have a dedicated event or multiple events. So you'll pick the day. Usually weekends easier to attract some crowd if it's a.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah.
Not the day where you have like a pre-release for a big event, obviously.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, sometimes you're kind of stuck. It requires some creative thinking. Again, I'm sure no one here doesn't already follow this, but rotating copies can be really helpful, replacing key components that are broken or things that are sticky, because the demo experience, again, like a high quality looking game is going to help you sell that game better than if it's kind of beat up and been used a lot, which I'm sure happens when you have a popular game that you're demoing a lot of the time. This one, look for patterns. This is just a simple thing. I know I've noticed it in my own life. Sometimes I'm doing something regularly and I'm trying to assess whether or not it's effective in my personal life or not. And I found taking notes about what I'm doing, I can actually track progress. So I would think in the case of demos, it's about, okay, we ran this demo, how many people came in, how many sales did we make? And you can start to hopefully track some information of, oh, these types of games are very successful, whereas this one's maybe not as successful, so that you're able to pick have quality demos over just a whole quantity of demos. So you kind of refine which ones you want to be doing. So those are just a few quick tips. Anyone have any other tips they would throw out in the demo sphere that maybe I haven't mentioned before I open up to a couple of other questions? Anything that's worked for you? Okay, well then, yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we started doing is that we do kind of like a promo video for social media where whoever is going to be leading the demo is ask some questions so that when people come in, they already know whose space they're looking for and they have something about their personal experience that they can connect with, and they just approach them and say, "Oh yeah, I saw your video."
Right. So you're saying you as a store, you make your own personalized videos.
Sometimes it's me leading the demos.
Yep.
Sometimes it's someone else who is very passionate about a particular thing that
Sure.
I bought. So I want the passionate person to be doing the demos, and we will make a video with the person who is leading the demo.
So this is interesting. So then the people who are coming to the store have already made at least a parasocial connection with the video they've watched from your store. They know who's going to be running it. And then when they come to the store, it's like, oh, I know this person. I can go talk to them. Yeah, right. That's really smart. I think that's more work and effort, obviously. But again, I think you can definitely leverage social media. If you're running an event, talking about that kind of creating momentum thing, the more, of course, you advertise it, hopefully the more people see it and then come into the store. Now you've got a crowd and, oh, this is a thing that's actually happening. I want to be a part of this. But I think that's really clever. Do other people use your social media and actually put out videos or things of staff members and things like that? Oh, I'm seeing some shaking heads. Yeah. So what does it look like? What sort of things do you put out?
Always like mini demos. This stuff was bad. Gameplay.
Oh, you do gameplay videos and demo type content as well?
Yeah, but nothing too crazy, I would say. But definitely like little games or like little how you can play it. not following the rules because certain people don't want to follow.
Right. Alternative ways of playing.
Just working with social media and trends, really. Seeing what kind of trends are out there and then following them.
And do you find it gives you is there a good response to it? I assume if you're doing it.
Yeah, I'd say it's like a half and half. You get like your people that are really interested, people that don't care, but sure, a good mix.
Okay, excellent. All right. Well, I just had a couple of general discussion topics. We could just sort of fill out the rest of our time here. How are we doing for time?
Okay.
When does this end?
It can end whenever you want it to end.
Does anyone want to play Duel for Cardia or Fate of the Fellowship? Okay, let's just go through a couple of these and see if it inspires any thoughts. So if you had to cut your demo offering down to just one game this week, what would it be and why? Does anyone know immediately, like, here's a demo game? Because I think sometimes hearing what other stores are doing that has been successful in practice, that can be helpful for everybody. So does anyone have any, like, this is the game I would definitely keep if I had to cut down my demos to one thing? Yeah, what do you got there?
Dice of Crown.
Dice of Crowns. And why do you think it's so successful?
It takes 15 minutes to teach you how to play, and it takes 15 minutes to play a game.
Oh, that's kind of perfect demo.
It's a $20 game that you can put in your pocket and tell people keep it in your car. As long as you have a small table, you can play with any number of people.
That's a pretty powerful sales pitch. We can be playing, you can take it anywhere, and it's a low cost item. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So push your luck, backstab your friend, dice game.
Okay, I haven't played this one. That's now I'm curious. What about you? You had one?
Unmatched.
Unmatched, yes.
This game, like in my community, I have a small remote community. People just love the concept of something two totally different characters killing each other, and it's just hilarious fun.
Yeah, and you've got miniatures and great art, and it is also a small box, especially if you're getting like just the two characters. Yeah, and of course expandable. So if they like it, they can just keep coming back and getting more and more. And they do. Good, excellent. There's a new Hellboy set coming out later this year. I can't wait for. Anyone else have a good game that's like your go-to? Yeah.
Just because of how many people play the game, it's Splendor. I teach Splendor every 2.5 minutes, and like the amount of people that replay that game is just so high. It's just
right.
No matter like if I teach people new games, old games, like Splendor has one of the highest replayability where I am.
And it's got the tactile tokens. Yeah. Everyone here know Emily from Asmodee or know us? She's in the marketing team. She was playing Splendor, and boy, did she crush him. She was so serious. It was the day before everything started. I was impressed. That game has staying power. It still does. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I see another one. Yep. Yeah. There's wooden ones, right? Like, yeah, Porto is a great one. Nice little brain twister. And it also has the look and approachability of a classic, like a checkers, or, it has some of that kind of older style, kind of comfortable game, right? What's the average time it takes for a customer to go from sitting down at your demo to making their first decision? I'm kind of curious to hear you with your 5-sentence method. I'm sure it's not the same for every game, but just in general.
Complexity, but if it's the type of game that's the on-the-spot demo, I would say maximum.
Wow. Yeah.
Long.
Yeah. I think that's sort of what you want, right? You want that short timeline to get them in. Not every game can do that, of course, but yeah.
This might not work for every game or even particularly the board games, but I have a thing where I tell my demo agents to start on turn 2.
Right. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It does work with board games in general or maybe card games, but in tabletop miniature games or war games like that, right?
Where normally you start way across the field from each other, and that first turn you're kind of not doing a whole lot.
Before you start playing, it's about deployment, and then you have to explain each unit's ability and why you don't want to deploy an archer up front. You want him behind. But if you preset everything up and you put the archers behind a squad of warriors, you're making them create their first dynamic decision right up front.
Right. And of course, through playing a couple of rounds, they will reverse engineer. Oh, when I'm setting up, I want my archers here because I've now seen what happens when they're in the right position.
Yeah. There are rules that they can learn on their own when they buy the game.
Of course. Yeah.
What you're looking to do is give them an overall experience of what they're going to tell their friends about that game. And I promise you, it's not going to be where they put that tank.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right. That's good. Like when I think about Arkham Horror, the card game that I was mentioning earlier, which is kind of an involved game, I think if I was demoing that, I would probably follow exactly what you said. I'd actually start with open hands, and I would sort of probably be a turn in, and we'd have some monsters to attack, we'd have something to investigate, so we can actually just get right into the core thing, and then pick it up from there. Because again, sure, it's fun to do right from the beginning and feel like you're there for the whole adventure. But in a demo experience, again, where you're just trying to figure out, do I like this game or not? Throwing them right into the deep end of the action is probably a good idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Related to that, we will also stack decks depending on the game.
Yes. Oh, I've done that.
Difficult mechanics or setting up the first few turns to have something cool happen right away so you get that immediate positive response. It gets people rolling way fast.
That's really smart. I agree with that technique entirely. Stacking the decks. And sometimes stacking the deck is good to make sure a bad thing doesn't happen too early. Some games have like, here's a punishing event. Just get that down a few more cards so people actually do something before they lose a turn or whatever punishing thing happens to them, right? Yeah, good one. So if I walked into your store, would it be obvious how to join a demo? And how have you made it obvious for your customers? Yeah.
But we do is that on the spot demos is something for like in very
Right. So you have a little catalog of demos that you can do.
Within library.
Yes.
You know, depending on what they're looking for, I'm like, oh, I actually don't know the copyright.
Okay.
But generally, it will just be get us at least a week in advance. It's in all of the calendars where we can share it. Make sure that they know when it's happening, where it's happening, at what time, who's going to be leading it, so that and how long it's going to take, so that people already know.
All right, you're already covering the bases of helping set expectations so they know what they're committing to. That's perfect. Yeah. Anyone else have anything that you do to kind of help make it clear where your demos are happening? Because some stores are quite large, and you walk in and there's maybe 2 or 3 floors. I've been like one of the spots in PEI. It's like, is it happening down here? Is it happening upstairs? Where do I go? You know, it's nice. I think just having a little bit of basic signage helps a lot. All right, let me look at the next one here. What's one demo that surprised you by not converting into sales? And what challenge did it pose for you and your customers? This might be kind of interesting. Not that we want to throw shade on a game, but like, was there anything that you thought was going to work and it just didn't work for some reason? Did anyone have any experiences like that? Or maybe a game kind of underperformed or was harder to demo than you would have expected? I'm trying to think of myself if I've ever had challenge that way. Like I said, I was a little concerned about the demo I was running earlier with Hellbreak because of the complexity of it, and I wasn't sure of the person I was going to be demoing to if it was going to be a good fit, and it worked out just fine. But I could certainly see a situation where that would have been, it could have gone another way. But all right, doesn't sound like there was any bad experience. Oh,
just to add, I'd say like we had someone demoing for us for quite a while who took it to heart when it didn't sell, and I'm like, as the demoer, I don't necessarily want you to sell the game. I want you to show the game and make it fun. But not every game has to sell 10 copies after demos. Like that's not why I hired them.
I like that. That's really good because you can't.
I don't want them to be selling the product. Like I want them to
focus on the experience you give them. And if you gave them a good experience, even if they didn't buy the game, you did your job right. Right? I think that's really smart because you can't control the outcome really, but you can control your system. The system is what you've got control over. How are we teaching it? What kind of experience are we trying to create? And then whether it sells or not could be all kinds of factors, that are outside of the demoer's control. That's a nice thing. I think that
was shocked by like both Magical Athlete and Hot Street.
Yes.
I got to teach. You got to be there the whole way through. Do you leave them on those games?
You're not wrong. As much as I haven't played Magical Athlete yet, I've played Hot Streak a whole mess, but it's actually a little more complex than you think. And each round, there's a new rule, right? That they have to, there's something new in each round. So you're right. That's something you kind of have to be hovering.
Yeah, when we went in, we're like, this game's been amazing. It's been so record.
The table presence, right?
After to teach it in that like 20 minutes. So I was like, oh my God, you can't do this. Go.
That's
teaching Hot Street takes too long.
That's a great example. Yeah. And you found the same thing with Magical Athlete as well?
Yeah. That's the way they've got to set up. It's takes too long. And sometimes you get a combination where it's just not that fun.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you do, but it's just, again, you end up hovering and it's not what.
Yeah, that's a game that maybe is, and again, I can only speak to my own experience with it and what I'm hearing you say, but maybe the box is what sells it. You know, the great components, maybe it's a harder one to actually sell through a demo in some ways because of the unpredictability of it. Okay, just curious about this because I don't know if you mostly focus on partial demos or full playthroughs, but have you found that partial demos sell better than full playthroughs, or what's more effective generally? Or do you even offer full playthroughs? Is it usually, I guess it probably depends on the game, if it's a shorter game or not. But yeah.
I try to leave a partial demo with something we haven't done yet, whether that's like Duel for Cardia, for example. If I'm selling that, doing a demo, what I would leave that with would be, well, we have tested out the first deck, it's second deck.
Right.
Similarly, if there's multiple rounds to the game, maybe we will leave up to 4. We might score the first round and then leave it. There's 2 more rounds. The scoring would change. We're not going to do that part.
Right.
So they're not taking home something they've already played entirely. They're taking home something they know they would like to keep playing.
Right. And you've already kind of teased what's coming next if they were to keep playing, right? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Well, have you found effective strategies for handling the tension between building community space and maximizing retail space? I mean, we already talked about this a little bit. I think it's probably just something that can be a challenge, and you kind of have to figure it out for your own stores, I imagine, in the confinements you might have. Listen, this is the end of it. That's me. That's me playing Chinese checkers with my grandfather and crokinole. I've been playing games my whole life. I love it. Thank you all for what you do, because you introduce games to other people who then have these kind of experiences and carry on. Thanks for being a part of this conversation too. I hope the discussion was interesting. I hope maybe there's a few things you might have picked up there, or at least can consider in future demos that you do. Tommy, I don't know if there's any other questions that you have there, but otherwise I'm ready to wrap.
So we can wrap it up. Thank you so much, Rodney, for everything. That was amazing.
Thank you, everybody.